Hey, how's everybody doing? Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. If you hear me and you see me, drop a 5x5. Let me know. It's not just an illusion that we're actually live. All five of us here. Now I'm sure some people will come back and watch this later. Thank you, Pilgrim. But Pilgrim, Forrest, Savage Lee, thank you for being here. I figured I'd do a live on Christmas Day just because there's some people that just don't have anything better to do and they're just sitting around kind of lonely. I figure what better thing to talk about than Civil War and racism on Christmas Day, all right? Because we've already opened all the presents, all the kids have done their little thing, and now you're just kind of sitting around with your in-laws and stuff going, oh my God, if something was just on my phone, I could turn it on and go walk outside and watch and listen. So that's what I'm gonna do for you. Oh, we got more people popping up. Oh, populating quickly. 24 in the house. Forrest. Mo, thank you for being here. Teresa. Data. James. Dome Seeker in the house. Merry Christmas, Dome Seeker. This morning I went down and saw Just Scott. He's in the hospital. So I had to bring him coffee. He wanted coffee for Christmas and his birthday, which is the same day. And so took it down there to him. Rose, thank you for being here. My guy for prepping. What's he say? Don't tell, but in the shower. Okay. Our little secret. Audro Pop. I'm seeing names, Merry Christmas, that I haven't seen before. If you can't comment, it's because you're not a subscriber. And for people my age, just so you're aware, or older, subscribing is free. All right. You just literally click the little bell icon and it'll say notifications. Click the always, everything. And you'll get a notification. Should, not always, we'll get a notification when I do things like this. But subscription is absolutely free. A lot of times people our age tend to think, oh, I got to pay for something that I'm subscribed. It's not Publishers Clearinghouse, okay? You're not going to win millions of dollars either. But good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. Native, how you doing? Glad you're here. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Live chat. Yes, Teresa. Everything's live. That's funny you say that. I thought it cost money. I'm sure some people did at some point in time. All right. Yes, Native is in the house. Native Voice. If you don't watch him, go check out his channel. He puts out good stuff. All right. TW, thank you for being here. Coffee first, then speak. Hello. Thank you for being here. All right. Well, let's hop into it because I've heard on various channels, we watch some of the same channels. We follow some of the same people. And people are talking about Civil War. Hell, I talk about Civil War because it's inevitable eventually. Every country always has civil wars over and over, depending on given enough time. All right. But will the next one be a race war? Because a lot of people are talking about that too. Well, let's look at my whiteboard. All right. I put up the whiteboard again because it seems to help get the messages across. Civil War. You got two divisions there. One comes off cultural, the other race. All right. Those are typically the two biggest things that actually demographics within a civil war. Yes, you have other causes, economics, poverty, things like that. But the demographics of people actually fighting civil wars are usually broken down along cultural or racial lines. Okay. Now, cultural, as we've talked about before, we have conservative and liberal. Those are the two largest cultural divides in this country. Okay, we've said before, forcing cultures to blend is not actually a good thing. Okay, real quick on why, because a lot of people talk about diversity and inclusion and America, the melting pot. Okay, let's think of it as gold. Gold, 0.999 purity, is valuable. Gold is valuable, but if you add nickel and copper, aluminum, whatever, you add other metals in with it, that gold starts to lose its value. Now, it doesn't matter what culture you are, whether you be Asian, African, Caucasian, European, Hispanic. Anytime other cultures start blending with your culture, erodes the foundation of your culture. Now, there's also steel. Steel, you blend metals, uh, heat them up, temper them, and you mix alloys to create stronger metals. Yes, you can, but that normally doesn't work the same with culture. Just before anybody said, "Well, so," because I knew somebody would be like, "Well, if alloys are stronger if you mix metals." Well, it's not the same with culture. The culture, your belief systems, are always strongest in their purest forms. Doesn't matter where you're from on the planet. All right, where you're from. Let's get some people spun up on this ball right here. No, I'm just poking at my flat earthers. I still love you guys. All right, doesn't matter what the object is. We're still going through the same type of crap. All right. Now with race, you're the big four: white, Hispanic, black, and Asian. You will see the media divide those. All right. You see it all the time. Division in media. Put it right there for you. Media you will see all the time: anti-white, anti-black, anti-Asian, and anti-Hispanic, and even anti-Middle Eastern. All right, because they're going to blow us up or they're going to commit terrorism. Hispanics. Oh, those Hispanics, they're crossing the border and they're going to take your benefits or your tax dollars. They're going to suck off the system. The Asians are going to steal your jobs. All right, they're taking all the jobs over to China and semiconductors. The black people are going to rob you. They're going to steal your white women, whatever. They're going to burn your house down. The white people are going to oppress you. They're the colonizers. Okay, you hear it in media all the time. People wonder why there's racial tension. All right. If you actually pay attention over the past decade or so, racial tension in the United States has started to increase. All right. Kind of plateaued for a while, and then it's starting to increase. And if you look at it, the news and cinema are two of the biggest ways that the media is getting the racial tension hyped up. The news reports are usually unequal. All right. They'll show white crime against black, but not black crime against white, or Hispanic crime against white, but not Hispanic crime against black. You'll very rarely see a news article or something on the television, the mainstream media, where a Hispanic male, mugged or a black woman, or where a group of Hispanic youths assaulted a black youth. But the other ways around, they'll spin that. Okay. For example, in Columbus, Ohio, a lot of people, unless you were actually looking for it or live in that area, you don't know. The other day, 3 black youths last week assaulted a older Caucasian male and killed him. All right. With bare fists and feet. All right. You'll see the police assaulting a black youth or an older black gentleman. They spin it to manipulate both sides because that causes resentment, fear, and tribalism. Okay? In the cinema, let's look at recent cinema. You have The Purge. All right? The Purge, if you actually paid attention, was predominantly Hispanic versus Caucasian. They wanted to, wipe out these people because they were rich. They wanted to wipe out these people because they were a detriment to their society. Okay? If you look at Black Panther, all right, and a lot of people are like, whoa, Black Panther. Yes, that was a very racist movie. Even my boys noticed. They're like, wait a second. None of the people in that entire nation look anything like us. Yes, if you have to think about it, Black Panther was, you know how Disney likes to reverse roles? Like the Little Mermaid went from being a white mermaid fish imaginary thing to a black one. It's basically Mein Kampf. if you think about it. A superior race that dominates a country, that won't let any other race within its borders, and is going to use its technology to conquer the world. Where have we heard that story before? Yes. And things like that, especially when targeted at the youth of society, the kids, starts to put resentment, fear, and cause tribalism. Okay. And resentment and fear almost always lead to hate and distrust. Look at the most recent movie, Leave the World Behind. There was a large racial segment in that movie. All right. Now, will Civil War break down and have racial components to it? Absolutely. Every civil war that occurs on the planet, that has occurred in the last 100 years, and there's been hundreds of them, all right, have had racial components. If there was a civil war between seceding states and what's left of a United States, would there be rogue militias that go through and commit war crimes, ethnic cleansing? Yes, you would see some of that. Absolutely. And it would be on both sides, because there is fear and hate, resentment and hate are not racially exclusive. All right. You can find just as many Black people who are racist against white people and Hispanic people who are racist against both of those groups pretty much equally across the country. All right. Hell, around the world. But that all boils down to tribalism, and that will cause infighting. All right. That actually benefits the powers that be, the elites. Because if they can keep you fighting amongst yourselves, it's divide and conquer. You're so busy focused on the threat at hand, you don't see the threat on the horizon. Okay? And as long as these people cannot unite against those people, everything will work out in their favor. Okay? Let me hop into chat real quick here. See if anybody has anything they'd like to say. Oh, if you have a comment for me or something, go ahead and put like a smiley face or something by it so I can actually see that. But yes, I wanted you to look at these things. And yes, there are as far as racism in America today. It's today. It was yesterday. It will be tomorrow. Even people who say that they're not racist have racist moments, because that is human nature. We are tribal creatures at essence, at our core. We are, whether we like it or not. We have stereotypes that we think about, that we discuss. There are things that, I don't care who you are, there are things that you say to other people at some point in time that someone would be like, in the right group, would be like, that was kind of racist. It's a fact. It's a fact. The only difference is whether you are actually willing to admit it or not. Okay. What else should we talk about? Clarifiers leading to civil war. Yeah. That is prejudice, not racism. Yes. Well, to prejudge. Yes, to prejudge. And prejudice has a bad word, because it has a bad connotation to it. Because to prejudge someone isn't always a bad thing. To prejudge a group of people, I don't care what race they are, that are hanging out at 3 o'clock in the morning, being loud and ruckus, as possibly dangerous to you, depending on the scenario, where you're at, is being not stupid. Okay, let's throw out some hypotheticals. If you're a Black youth and you happen to break down on the side of the road, and you're going into the nearest place to go get help for your vehicle is a trailer park, and it's 2 a.m. and there's a bunch of rowdy white dudes out there, if you don't have already preconceived notions, then you are naive and potentially putting yourself in harm's way, because we have to be realistic that there are people out there who don't like us based off of our skin color, our religion, all right, or how we carry ourselves, how we speak. Oh, you're uppity because you're well spoken. You don't speak in the right slang. You don't speak in the right, use the right tones or mannerisms. All right. Tribalism. Morel the Younger. I'm tribal and happy about it. And as I go back to gold. Yes. And I'm speaking from someone with, you're speaking to someone, I am speaking, and I have kids that are, all right, from two separate tribes, Asian and Caucasian. Okay. This will have certain difficulties for them and certain benefits for them in certain aspects of life. Okay. And in a Civil War conflict, if there was a bunch of people that are like, we're fighting the Chinese. Well, you know what? There could be more resentment towards people who see those kids without me around than there would be if they saw them with me. Okay. I acknowledge this. It's common sense. Okay. But for everybody to think that, racism doesn't exist, or it's only a white thing, or it's only a Hispanic thing, that's naivety at its best. White people are not all colonizers. All right. If you actually look at history, slavery is across the spectrum. Doesn't matter. So arguments about slavery from Black communities or from Islamic communities or from Celtic communities, it's irrelevant, because every culture had it at one point in time. All right. So it doesn't matter if you were a slave. Get over it. My people did. All right. The British weren't the best to my ancestors. So there's that. Dan D says, I agree. I'm just saying that it's not racism. It's not good to play in a room of rattlesnakes. Yes. And you have to understand, like he said, play in a room full of rattlesnakes. If you are, especially in a post-SHTF environment, all right, where there is going to be heavy tribalism, all right, we as people coalesce, like seeks like, especially in times of turmoil. If you try to I'm just going to go over here and hang out, I'm not racist, and my friend's not racist, and we're of different races, and there's all kinds of shit hitting the fan, so I'm going to go hang out with him and his people. And if his people, regardless of what your color is, are different than yours, that would be an unsafe environment for you as a general rule, because of facts of human nature. Okay. If you're a Black guy, you wouldn't want to go and hang out with a bunch of rednecks and white people, even if they're not rednecks, of white people. And if you're a white guy, you wouldn't want to go hang out with a bunch of Black people or a bunch of Hispanic people, or Hispanic people to Black people, or Hispanic people to white people, because you're going to be safer ultimately amongst your own kind. A lot of people aren't going to like that. A lot of people are like, oh, that's crazy. That's reality. All right. I mean, let's look at nature. Okay. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. 3 top predators that you don't just see them chilling together. Okay. There's a reason, other than geographic location. You still wouldn't put them all in the same cage, because it would be bad. All right. California State Prison Politics, Buckshot Prepper says. Thank you. Excellent. That is the best way to look at it. When the law of the jungle applies, there's going to be sides picked. Okay. Did your email address change to Warlord? I can't remember. I think so. I think it's, I don't know. I will get back to you on that on a future video there, Alexis Alexander. Merry Christmas, Beaverines. MCs. Yes, a lot of MCs, Pilgrim says. Michigan Outpost says, fact, Rob. 100% look at the prison systems. But your average people, hey, Terry, Merry Christmas. Your average people don't want to acknowledge that. And here's the funny thing. The military is predominantly the same way. You can go to any military base across this nation, but we're a conquering empire. All right. We have 800 bases or so around the globe. You go to any military base, for any of you that are civilians or have never served in the military, and you will distinctly see groups of Filipinos, groups of black soldiers, groups of white soldiers, groups of Hispanic soldiers. Even in the military, there's a large amount of self-segregation because there are different cultures, and it's human nature. It's human nature. You will see people in the military and stuff going around, oh, I've got friends of all. Yes, we have friends of all nationalities in the military. We have associates of all nationalities in the military. But at the end of the day, there is a much greater portion of self-segregation than there is of not at the end of the day. And anybody saying otherwise is lying to you or to themselves or both. Okay? Well, hope this gave you something to think about. All right? Again, media is steadily pushing this division, okay, based off race. And they're making you fear everybody. All right? So there's going to be an aspect of racial war mixed with civil war. It all depends on your geographic location and population density. Okay. If you live in a urban environment, you're going to see different ones than you'll see in a very, very rural environment, different forms of it. All right. Rabit Coyote says, afternoon, Warlord. I bless you and Merry Christmas for you and yours today, and to everyone gathered here listening to the truth. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. My best friend in the Army was a Mexican. He called me Diablo Blanco, the White Devil. I called him Ricky Ricardo. We were buddies. Yes. Yeah, but you had a common goal. You were in the U.S. military, had a common goal. Your best friend. I'm sure he had a lot more friends that he spoke Spanish to every day, and you had a lot more friends also that didn't speak Spanish. Okay, that's a fact. Dome Seeker, we'll leave that one alone. But yeah, so think about that. Be conscious of how they're dividing you when you see it on TV, when you hear it on the radio. Know that it's part of the plan. Okay, it's part of the plan. And I think that should about wrap things up. And I know a lot of people are talking about displacement theory and here's a big one. Here's a big one real quick before we jump off here. Creeps period Dome Seeker does so for a reason. Yeah. Here's a big one is that, everybody's like, well, you hear on the news the past decade or so, white people are becoming the minority, I mean, if I was a fact checker, I would say misleading in urban and suburban environments, I would say yes, partially true. As a whole, if you actually count the numbers of Caucasian people in the United States, they vastly, vastly outnumber all of the minorities. All right. And people are like, well, there's only, 7.8 million more than that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. You got 290,000 Caucasoids and the rest broken down to subcategories of other races. Yeah, there's still no, but that what does that do? That creates fear. I'm being replaced and resentment. Oh, they're trying to take my jobs. They're trying to take this. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do this. And it gives false security. I mean, like the Black Panther. All right. It gives false security that, oh, well, we have superior weapons. We have superior firepower. We can, they're the minority now. That's it. That's laying, know your enemy and know yourself. That's straight out of, Sun Tzu's Art of War. All right. If they convince the white people that they're becoming the minority and black people that they're the majority, and then the black people start a war, or the white people start a war, or there's a war started between those two, and then we'll throw in some Hispanics and other people and Asians and everybody else. But those two groups, you've given one a false sense of ability. Well, the enemy doesn't know how strong this enemy is, and this one, you've instilled fear, but they've got more guns and more numbers. It's going to end up really bad for everybody. All right. But if they get divided, then they can come down and crack down on everybody else after you thin some numbers out down here. Okay. Constitutionalists are becoming the minority. Yes. I'll agree with that. Constitutionalists are becoming the minority. And there was something else I was gonna say, and it just slipped out of my mind. We are like 70-ish. I don't understand what that 70%ish. Okay. See, I need glasses because I didn't see the little percent sign. Rooftop Koreans. I was thinking of that earlier today, Sherman Sales, the LA riots, when the Koreans, the Asians, I'm not going to, because there was probably Vietnamese up there too, had their AKs out. Like, wish you would loot, rob, burn my store. I got the old Kalashnikov out, or the SKS, whatever they happen to have. They're quick to take that Second Amendment and use that. Oh, and there's something I always like to get back to, because people are always talking about constitutionalism. The Constitution hasn't applied for a long time in this country. A long time. The simple fact, okay, here's some fact. Now, everybody says, they'll tell you the preamble of the Constitution is just that. It's the preamble. It's not the actual Constitution. But the preamble states what the purpose of the Constitution was for. Can we at least agree on that? I assume that most will say the preamble does tell what the Constitution is supposed to be doing, and then the Constitution actually lays down the rules. But if you actually read the preamble to the Constitution, the Constitution doesn't apply to anyone that's not already an American or hasn't gone through the process to become an American. Once you go through that process, or are born an American, then the Constitution applies to you. It says so right in the preamble. It says that it's for us and our progeny. Okay? So technically, that Constitution, all the rules in it only cover Americans. So if you're an illegal or whatever, it doesn't cover you. If you snuck in, if you overstayed a visa, or if you're just here and you're actually a citizen of somewhere else, if you're here visiting, you're here on a tourist visa, you're not supposed to be protected by the Constitution. It says so. But we've allowed lawyers to manipulate that. And those are the same people that are going to get us into a civil war. So stock up, stack up, get your preps in order. Somebody else is going live right now or something. Phone just gave me a ding. And, be ready. Price of everything is going up. Gold, silver, copper, and lead, normally bought combined. That's going to be going up. It's a few more days and it's election year. So think about that. Merry Christmas, Outlaw Farms. Forgetfulness is a sign of old age. See, I need glasses. Yes, it is. And my mind. Okay, we didn't have ADD or ADHD, whatever it is. When I was a kid, we had pay attention or you're getting your ass whooped, and my mind is always racing. I'm always thinking about multiple avenues, multiple timelines, multiple trains of thought, and sometimes I just squirrel out. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. Rabit Coyote says, it is a privilege to be an American, not a right to give to anyone else. Yeah, it's supposed to be earned, all right? But in today's society, which is going to help cause this, rights are often seen as privileges, which can be, privileges can what? Be taken away. Rights cannot. Privileges you have to pay for. Rights you do not. Okay? Well, you pay for rights. The payment is blood. Always has been. Ask a soldier. What do we have? I don't even want to know what you're talking about right there, Rabit Coyote. But yes, so is tribalism good? It's good for the tribe. And as long as the tribes can have their own places, set up their own boundaries, then and nobody pushes past those boundaries and it can be agreed upon, then it's a good thing. But if the people push into boundaries that don't belong to them, it becomes bad. I mean, pick a hot spot around the world right now where people are sending high velocity projectiles at each other, and you will find that it has occurred in some degree or another. Okay. If you just stand and do nothing, then you lose your rights. Yeah. And America has done that for a long time. That's why we're heading towards civil war, because they want more control, and people are at the people of all of these people. None of these people want a bunch of control. Let me correct that. The ones down here that are conservative don't want big government control. The ones down here that are liberal tend to want more government control. And that in and of itself is part of the division process. Okay. If you stop teaching people how to fend for themselves, and then you make another group fend for them, eventually the fenders stop or want to stop. All right. You run out of other people's money. People have said that before. Generational welfare. All right. Splitting up the atomic family, or the clans, or the tribes, however you want to call it, splitting these up and making groups dependent on government, and government is dependent on workers who actually contribute. Eventually, those who contribute are tired of those who do not. And you're going to have conflict, because eventually people are going to say, well, then if I'm just not going to contribute anymore, so how's that? And they're going to stick their tongue out. And then if enough people stop contributing, everything falls apart, because it's a pyramid scheme. The federal government is a pyramid scheme, not unlike Social Security. Everybody, socialism bad, communism bad. Till you talk about Social Security. Oh, but I paid into that. Most of that money goes to other things other than Social Security. So it's a pyramid scheme. So you got to end it sometime. You got to end it sometime, or it never ends. Because what it does is it feeds the beast. Mm-hmm. I mean, somebody's going to have to take a loss. Somebody's going to have to take an L. Let it be my generation. I'll take it. I'll work till a day after I die. All right. I tell you what, if I know the day I die, I'll go dig my grave a week before. That way the work's already done. Okay. Then we'll have my kids just fill in the hole. I'll work till the day I die, not get Social Security. Okay. Just end the shit. Oh, but not a lot of people have that mentality. And therein lies the problem. Scott, from the hospital bed, just like Social Security. Exactly. Just Scott. Everybody say hi to Just Scott. He's right there. He's in the hospital. He's got some problems right now. They're trying to fix them. All right. We'll see if I can drop another video today. If not, I will drop another one in the next couple of days. And we'll see how everything goes. To my Christians, Merry Christmas. To the Jews out there, Happy Hanukkah. To the Muslims, hi, have a great day. And to everybody else, I love you. God bless. God bless us, everyone. All right. Thank you all for being here on this Christmas day. And I'm pretty sure I watched my language the whole way through this and didn't drop any really bad F-bombs or anything like that. I'm trying to be good. It's Christmas. But thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. 67 people in the house on Christmas Day. That is outstanding. Outstanding to all of you. All right. Now go have some fun. I'm out.